There comes a time in every person's life when they must learn the delicate art of letting go, not because they don't care, but because they've learned to care wisely, and wisdom, my friend, knows where to invest and where to withdraw. Detachment is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. It's about understanding that peace is too high a price to pay for someone else's chaos. You see, life will offer you many connections, but not all of them are meant to stay. Some people come to teach, some to test, and some to drain. If you don't learn the lesson, you'll keep taking the test. And if you don't let go of the weight, it will shape you into someone you were never meant to be. Detachment doesn't mean absence of love. It means the presence of boundaries. It means you've finally stopped participating in your own pain. It means you're learning to walk away from noise and toward clarity. It is not your job to fix everyone, and it's not your responsibility to stay in situations that constantly cost you your self-worth. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Don't confuse detachment with bitterness. A bitter heart pushes away in anger, but a wise heart lets go in peace. The world will always tug at your energy, people, problems, drama, expectations. But your power lies in your ability to say, "That is not mine to carry." Your soul was not designed to be a landfill for others' unresolved emotions. Detach not to escape life, but to return to it with clarity. Detach so you can move through life with grace instead of guilt. Detach so you can be free not just from them, but from the version of you that needed their approval. True strength is not holding on. True strength is knowing when to release. Detachment is clarity, not coldness. It's not about shutting down your heart. It's about opening your eyes. It's not a wall you build to keep others out. It's a window you open to let the fog clear. When you detach, you're not being harsh. You're being honest. You're not rejecting people, you're protecting your peace. Detachment doesn't say, "I don't care." It says, "I care enough about my well-being to stop pouring into places that drain me." It's choosing to see things as they are, not how you wish they were. It's the moment you realize that holding on too tightly can blur your vision. And when your vision is blurred, your decisions suffer. Detachment brings back that vision. It gives you space not just from people, but from emotional noise. It's the act of stepping back far enough to see the full picture. You no longer react from emotion. You respond from wisdom. You no longer chase closure from people who thrive in confusion. You no longer beg for understanding from those committed to misunderstanding you. You understand that your energy is a currency, and you start spending it where there's return. Detachment teaches you that not every argument needs your voice, not every situation needs your presence, and not every person deserves your access. It doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you love with discernment. You love with your eyes open. You love without losing yourself. You let people go without losing your balance. You face endings without fear because you've stopped depending on the world to validate your worth. When you detach, you don't disconnect from life. You reconnect with yourself. You rediscover your power. You return to your center, and from that center, you choose what aligns, not what distracts, not what drains, but what truly belongs. Detachment is clarity, not coldness. It is the beginning of emotional freedom and the gateway to inner peace. Not all relationships are meant to be permanent. Some people are placed in your life for a season, not a lifetime. They come to teach you something, to challenge you, to wake you up. And once their purpose is fulfilled, they begin to fade. That doesn't mean the connection was meaningless. It means it was meaningful for a moment, and that moment mattered. You see, growth often demands release. You cannot hold on to what you've outgrown and expect peace. Sometimes the hardest part of evolving is accepting that not everyone can go with you. Some relationships feel like home until you realize you've outgrown the walls. Some people love you from their wounds, not from their wholeness, and over time that love begins to hurt more than it heals. Letting go doesn't mean there was no love. It means the story reached its final chapter, and clinging to what's ending only keeps you from beginning again. Some people are mirrors, showing you parts of yourself you need to face. Others are bridges, guiding you from one phase of life to the next. But very few are foundations. Very few are meant to stay. When you accept this, you stop forcing connections. You stop begging for consistency from those who were never built to last. You stop measuring your worth by who stays and who leaves. You learn to bless the experience and release the attachment. You thank the moment and embrace the lesson. Not every goodbye is a failure. Some are redirections. Some are the soul's way of making space for better alignment. Some are the universe's way of saying that chapter is complete. When you trust that, you stop fearing loss. You begin to see endings not as punishments, but as permission to move forward. You understand that love can be real and still not be right. That someone can matter deeply and still not be meant for the rest of your path. And that's okay. It's not about bitterness. It's about acceptance. It's about honoring what was without denying what is, and moving forward with peace in your heart, because not all relationships are meant to be permanent. Some are simply meant to shape you before setting you free. Peace should never be sacrificed for another's chaos. Your inner calm is not a currency you trade to maintain someone else's comfort. Your balance is not something you give away to fit into someone else's storm. When you let go of peace to accommodate chaos, you begin to lose yourself. You start living in survival mode, constantly adjusting, constantly reacting, constantly shrinking. That is not peace. That is surrendering to instability disguised as love, loyalty, or obligation. You were not created to be the emotional regulator for people who refuse to heal. You are not the rescue team for someone else's self-destruction. Everyone is responsible for their own growth, and you are responsible for your own peace. When you start confusing chaos with connection, you invite dysfunction into your life. You start calling stress normal. You start calling exhaustion commitment. You start calling pain love. But real love doesn't require you to live in distress. Real love doesn't thrive in chaos. It grows in stillness, in safety, in presence. You can care about someone and still walk away from their storm. You can have compassion and still protect your energy. Peace is not selfish. It's sacred. It's the foundation of clear thought, steady emotions, and intentional living. Without peace, you forget who you are. You forget what matters. You spend your days fixing, explaining, apologizing just to keep the chaos quiet. But that's not living. That's coping. You weren't designed to be a container for anyone's unresolved mess. You weren't built to constantly carry emotional weight that isn't yours. Eventually, that weight crushes the parts of you that used to smile, hope, and dream. So choose peace again and again. Even if it means walking alone for a while, even if it means disappointing others, even if it means setting boundaries that shake relationships, because your well-being is not up for negotiation. Your peace is not something you should sacrifice for anyone, no matter how close, no matter how long, no matter how deep the bond. You can wish someone healing without joining them in their destruction. You can love someone from a distance without setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. Peace should never be sacrificed for another's chaos. Because once you lose your peace, everything else starts to fall apart. Detachment is setting healthy boundaries, not abandoning love. It's not about walking away in anger. It's about standing firm in clarity. It's about knowing where you end and someone else begins. You can love someone deeply and still not let them walk all over your peace. You can care without carrying the weight of their chaos. Detachment is the wisdom to know what belongs to you and what does not. It's the strength to say, I love you, but I won't sacrifice myself to prove it. Love doesn't mean losing yourself. It doesn't mean tolerating pain to keep the connection alive. Love without boundaries becomes survival, not support. It becomes draining instead of fulfilling. Detachment is choosing to love from a place of self-respect. It's loving with open eyes and a guarded heart, not because you're distant, but because you value balance. It's realizing that not every demand is your responsibility. Not every crisis needs your attention. Not every mood is yours to absorb. You can still be kind without being available 24/7. You can still be supportive without sacrificing your time, energy, and mental health. Detachment allows you to show up without being swallowed whole. It teaches you to listen without internalizing, to give without losing, to care without clinging. It's not coldness, it's control over your emotional space. It's knowing you have limits and honoring them without guilt. It's refusing to confuse love with endless access, because real love respects space. It doesn't invade, it invites. It doesn't control, it connects. When you detach, you stop trying to rescue. You stop trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. You stop defining your worth by how much you can endure. You start protecting your peace as a form of love for yourself and for others. You start understanding that boundaries are not barriers. They're bridges to healthier connection. They allow you to give the best of yourself, not what's left of yourself. Detachment is not rejection. It's redirection away from emotional chaos and toward inner stability. It's choosing growth over guilt. It's choosing healing over holding on. Detachment is setting healthy boundaries, not abandoning love. It's the art of loving wisely with presence, with peace, and with power. You are not responsible for fixing others at the cost of yourself. It's a beautiful thing to care, to want to help, to want to see someone grow, heal, and rise. But when your help becomes your burden, it's no longer help itself, sacrifice. And your purpose in life is not to shrink just so others can stand taller. You can guide, but you cannot carry someone else's entire journey. You can support, but you cannot heal wounds that aren't yours to heal. You can love someone deeply, but if that love constantly drains you, something needs to change. You were never meant to be the glue holding broken pieces together while you quietly fall apart. You can hold space for others without losing your own. You can be present without becoming consumed. You are not selfish for choosing your own peace. You are not unkind for choosing your own growth. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back, to say, this is yours to face, and I believe you can, not because you don't care, but because you understand that growth cannot be forced, healing cannot be handed out, and change must come from within. You are not here to play savior. You are not a fixer of all things broken. You are a human being with limits, with needs, with a life of your own. And when you keep pouring into others without pouring back into yourself, you become empty. You become resentful, you lose the light you once used to guide others. Help should come from your overflow, not from your depletion. It should flow from your fullness, not your exhaustion. When you start believing that it's your job to fix others, you take on a weight that was never yours to carry. You interrupt their learning. You steal their responsibility, and in the process, you lose yourself. You can walk beside someone without walking for them. You can care without caring. You can give love without giving yourself away. The right people will grow with you, not weigh you down. The right relationships will lift you, not lean on you endlessly. You are allowed to say, "This is not mine." You are allowed to choose yourself without apology. You are not responsible for fixing others at the cost of yourself, because saving them should never mean losing you. Letting go is often the most loving act. It's not weakness. It's not abandonment. It's not giving up. It's choosing truth over illusion. It's choosing peace over pressure. It's choosing to stop holding what's already slipping away. Sometimes love means allowing space. Sometimes love means stepping back so someone else can grow. And sometimes love means saying goodbye so healing can begin. We're taught to hold on, to fight for what we love, to never quit. But real love isn't proven by how long you hold on. It's shown in your ability to recognize when holding on causes more harm than good. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough to stop hurting. It means you cared enough to want better for both of you. Some connections are beautiful, but not built to last. Some moments are meant to be memories, not futures. Some people are meant to be lessons, not lifelines. Letting go is honoring what was, without denying what is. It's acknowledging that no amount of holding on can force alignment. It's releasing the need to control what was never fully yours to begin with. You don't have to keep sacrificing your peace to prove your love. You don't have to keep waiting for someone to become who they once promised to be. You don't have to keep justifying the pain just to hold on to the past. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for them and for you is let go, to let the chapter close with grace, to let life continue without dragging the weight of what's already over. When you let go, you create space for something better. You allow healing to enter. You allow yourself to return to you. Letting go is not the end of love. It's a shift in how love shows up. It's choosing love that includes self-respect. It's choosing love that leaves room for growth, for freedom, for truth. You can still love someone and walk away. You can still care and say, "This is where it ends." You can still feel deeply and choose to release, because love that costs your peace is not love that should stay. Love that requires you to lose yourself is not love worth keeping. Letting go is not rejection. It's protection. It's preservation. It's strength dressed in silence. Letting go is often the most loving act, because it's the moment you stop forcing and start trusting. A wise heart detaches in peace, not in bitterness. It doesn't slam the door. It simply walks away with grace. It doesn't leave with rage. It leaves with clarity, because detachment, when rooted in wisdom, is never about revenge. It's about release. It's not about proving a point. It's about protecting your soul. A wise heart doesn't curse what it can't change. It accepts it, learns from it, and moves on. It doesn't replay every wrong word or relive every painful moment. It understands that dwelling in bitterness is just another way of staying stuck, and staying stuck means giving away your power. Bitterness keeps you chained to the pain, but peace sets you free. You don't have to hate someone to let them go. You don't have to wish them harm to wish yourself healing. You don't have to carry anger just to remember the lesson. Sometimes the most powerful act is to leave without noise, to detach without resentment, to move forward without looking back in blame. Bitterness feels loud in the moment, but it lingers like poison. It distorts your view, hardens your heart, and robs your future. But peace is quiet strength. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. It's calm in the face of confusion. It's stillness in the aftermath of chaos. A wise heart knows that peace isn't passive. It's intentional. It takes courage to stay soft in a world that has hardened you. It takes strength to forgive when you could stay angry. And it takes maturity to choose detachment over destruction. You don't have to close your heart, just close the chapter. You don't have to carry bitterness, just carry the lesson. Letting go with peace doesn't mean you weren't hurt. It means you've decided not to stay hurt. It means you value your inner world more than external battles. It means you're protecting your energy, your focus, and your future. The wise heart doesn't chase closure through conflict. It finds closure in acceptance. It doesn't need apologies to heal. It doesn't need revenge to feel complete, because real healing happens when you no longer need what once controlled you. A wise heart detaches in peace, not in bitterness. And in that peace, it finds the freedom to begin again. You must protect your emotional energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Everything you do flows from the state of your inner world. Your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your relationships, they all begin with how you feel inside. If your emotions are constantly drained, you can't think clearly. You can't move with purpose. You can't build the life you were meant to create. Emotional energy is your fuel, and when you spend it carelessly, you run empty in the places where you need strength the most. You don't owe your time to everyone who demands it. You don't owe your attention to every conversation, every argument, every piece of noise that tries to pull you in. You must learn to say no without guilt. You must learn to walk away without explanation. You must learn to stand guard at the gates of your mind, because not everything deserves access. There are people who will drain you just by being in the room. There are situations that will steal your peace just by thinking about them. There are habits and distractions that feel harmless in the moment, but leave you empty over time. And if you don't protect your energy, life will consume it without asking. You have to be intentional. You have to know what adds to your life and what subtracts from it. You have to learn the difference between what looks urgent and what's actually important. Every time you protect your peace, you preserve your potential. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you build a future that aligns with your highest self. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being strategic, because you cannot show up fully for your goals, your relationships, or your calling if your soul is tired. You cannot build something strong when your foundation is always shaken. Your future requires clarity. Your future requires consistency, and both of those depend on your emotional health. Protect it from people who constantly complain but never change. Protect it from environments that reward stress and call it success. Protect it from your own patterns that drain you without realizing it. Your peace is power. Your energy is limited, so spend it wisely. Spend it where it grows something, where it builds something, where it reflects the life you truly want to live. You must protect your emotional energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Detachment is returning to life with more intention, not withdrawing from it. It's not about escaping. It's about re-engaging with purpose, with clarity, with strength. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop attaching your peace to outcomes you can't control. It means you stop getting lost in the noise and start listening to what truly matters. When you detach, you don't turn away from life. You turn toward it with a clearer mind and a steadier heart. You stop reacting out of habit. You start responding with wisdom. You no longer live at the mercy of every emotion, every opinion, every shift in someone else's mood. You begin to choose where your energy goes. You begin to move with focus, not fear. Detachment teaches you to show up fully, but not lose yourself in the process. You learn to give your best without tying your worth to the result. You learn to love deeply without needing to control the direction. You learn to contribute without seeking constant validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop begging for attention. You stop proving yourself in rooms that were never meant for you. Because when you detach, you reconnect with what's real. You reconnect with your own values, your own vision, your own voice. Life becomes more peaceful, not because it's perfect, but because you've stopped clinging to things that never gave you peace in the first place. Detachment doesn't numb you, it awakens you. It sharpens your awareness. It reminds you what you truly want. It reveals what's been distracting you. You see things as they are, not how your emotions have twisted them. You stop trying to control every detail and start trusting the flow. You live lighter, you breathe deeper, you listen more, you speak with care, not force, you move with purpose, not pressure. This is not the end of feeling. It's the beginning of feeling without drowning, of caring without carrying what's not yours, of living without being weighed down by every ripple in the water. Detachment is not disconnect. It's deep connection with yourself and with life, just without the grip. It's a choice to hold life with open hands, not clenched fists. It's a return, not a retreat. A return to what matters, to who you are, to what aligns. Detachment is returning to life with more intention, not withdrawing from it. True strength lies in knowing when to release, not just when to endure. For too long, we've been taught that strength means holding on at all costs, that it means pushing through pain, carrying burdens silently, and never showing weakness. But real strength isn't about stubborn endurance alone. It's also about wisdom, the wisdom to know when holding on is hurting you more than helping you, when endurance becomes resistance, when patience turns into stagnation. True strength is the courage to let go, to release what no longer serves your growth, to free yourself from situations, people, or beliefs that drain your spirit. It takes strength to face the unknown that comes after release, to step into uncertainty without the safety net of what's familiar. But holding on out of fear is not strength. It's fear disguised as loyalty or commitment. True strength recognizes the difference between perseverance and persistence in pain. It recognizes that sometimes letting go is the bravest act you can take. It's the act of choosing your well-being over suffering, choosing your peace over chaos, choosing growth over comfort. Knowing when to endure is important. It shows resilience, commitment, and heart, but knowing when to release shows wisdom, self-respect, and clarity. Endurance without release can lead to burnout, to bitterness, to a loss of self. Release, on the other hand, creates space. Space for healing, space for new opportunities, space for fresh beginnings. It allows you to move forward lighter and stronger. True strength balances endurance with release. It is both the stubbornness to hold on when it matters and the grace to let go when it doesn't. It's the voice inside you that says, "I have fought enough here. It's time to move on." Strength is not in how long you can bear the weight, but in how wisely you choose what weight to carry, in how clearly you understand when a chapter has ended, and in how bravely you open the next one. True strength lies in knowing when to release, not just when to endure, because sometimes the greatest victory is walking away. So remember, strength is not just about holding on through the storm. It's also about having the courage to release the anchor that's weighing you down. When you learn to let go with intention and wisdom, you free yourself to embrace new beginnings. That is the mark of true strength. And that is how you create a life filled with purpose, peace, and power.